It's time for Ink the Book Show with your host, Ryan O'Connor. And now, let's ink the book. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new Ink the Book Show with me, Ryan O'Connor, where I spent like a year inking my first graphic novel called Bonehead on this channel. And whether you're watching on YouTube or on Twitch, I inked the whole thing live on stage in front of people. And now I am coloring it largely behind the scenes. But I colored one whole page today. Took me about 7 hours. And then I flatted the next page. So I've been hard at work on that. Even though I haven't been streaming much this week, I've been coloring that book like a madman over here. So just so you know, I'm working on art. But lately, what I've been doing on here, just because I think it's a little more entertaining than watching me fumble through Photoshop, coloring my comic on a stream, I've been doing sketchbook drawings, and I've prepared a new one for today. So come on in, everybody. Click on my face. Have a seat. Okay, I thought of this sketch a few days ago. I wanted to do a stream a few days ago, and then I ran out of time. I think I took a nap, and taking a nap always wrecks my plans. I need naps so much more lately. I'm only 35. I promise I'm not an octogenarian. I promise I'm not on death's door. I'm not 2 feet in the grave. But I've become a real nappy guy lately, much to my anger and dismay. I don't like taking naps. I don't like sleeping. I'm going to ink this with my ink and brush. And then I think I'm going to do watercolor over it. Even though this is just my sketchbook, I think I got to go light on the water part of the watercolors. I haven't done anything other than like what do you call them? Multi-liner pens or markers in these sketchbooks for a while. So this is my Winsor & Newton Series 7 Sable Kolinsky size 3 brush. I usually go with size 2 or 3. Poisonally. And then I'm using Speedball Super Black India ink. If you must know. I thought of this kind of Velma-y drawing where a kid was looking for his missing head, but he was having a hard time finding it because his face isn't on his body. But then I thought it would be even funnier if the head was like trying to direct it, but didn't know where his glasses were. Can't see without his glasses. So it's like a double Velma. A double Velma. He's pulling a double Velma over here. I've noticed I've been pulling these lines a little slow. That's dangerous. You get wobbly lines if you do that. It's better to try and get a smooth line very quickly. Yeah, I finished a page last night coloring my comic. And then I did a whole page that took me 7 hours today. I started at 8 in the morning and I finished around what's 7 hours from then? 2. Wait, did I say I started at 7? I started at 8 this morning. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. And I spent another 2 hours or so flatting the next page. And it's not even perfectly flatted yet. If I can pull it off, I'd like to finish that second page today. But considering how long the first one took me, I don't know if I'll get that in. People would think I was messed up. I'm just trying to think of how to word my sentence. I had like 3 or 4 plans on how that sentence was going to end, all starting with M. People would think I was messed up if they knew how many books I'm working on right now. It's like, well, when one kind of loses my interest, I start working on another thing. And I've got all these plans for other projects. But I spend most of my time and effort on the comic. But having too many irons in the fire, you don't want to stand still and get nothing done. You know what I mean? So you got to be careful if you're working on too many projects, not to do nothing, and not be moving forward. So as long as the main thing is getting, as long as you're getting substantial work done on one thing, you can toy around with other ideas is kind of my little rule in the back of my head. Because I'm trying to make an art book of this kind of stuff in my sketchbooks. Then I want to make an Art of Bonehead book, which is the comic. So people who've watched the channel, they know that when I first made up Bonehead, as I say, it was originally a plan for a video game level that my friend wanted to make for a class project. So I made up a character, and I made up like way too much information about the character, and that being Bonehead. And then I made a cartoon about him, and now I made a graphic novel about him. But over the past 10 years, I've accumulated so much Bonehead art that I make an art book, all Bonehead stuff, like how Bonehead came to be. I'm working behind the scenes. I'm working on an art book of this kind of stuff. I'm planning my next graphic novel. It's going to be forever that I'm coloring this current one. What else? I've got to put out I still want to do like the black and white issues of the Bonehead comic while I'm coloring the big book. I should be able to put out the first issue if I really want to. It's all there. Just I should do that. Oh, by the way, Damanami says howdy. Hi. My family had our St. Patrick's Day party, which was fun. I don't know. Did I talk about that on here? I don't think so, because I think I've been off since before St. Patrick's Day. I fell asleep like real early. I always fall asleep at everything. Damanami says, we just stopped by to say hi. Cool. Thanks for popping in. It's my double Velma. It's looking for his head, which is looking for its glasses. I dug out, since I'm not streaming stuff, I was kind of lonesome for some entertainment recently, so I dug out some DVDs, and I found my bootleg copy of Oliver Bean, this short-lived sitcom that was on Fox back in the day. I loved that show, and it took me forever to find. Like back in the day, like this was maybe about 10 years ago, I was dying to find a place where I could download the episodes or watch it or buy a DVD of it, and I couldn't find it anywhere. I'm sure there's somewhere that you can stream it now, or rip it off somewhere now. But I eventually I found this bootleg set of it where they're just in paper sleeves and it's 3 discs. And the episodes are all out of order, but they're in pretty good condition. And I was just watching that, and I love that dang show so much. It's so fun. It's kind of perfect TV, if you ask me. David Cross is the narrator. From Mr. Show and Arrested Development. I'm gonna pull this out real quick because but the whole cast in that show, I love them so much. They're so something about that show. It's just so perfect. It's kind of Malcolm in the Middle-y, very Malcolm in the Middle-y. And I think it was going at the same time. I guess it was 2 seasons. I don't know. It had like one of the Lawrence brothers. Andrew Lawrence was the older brother in this show, and he's kind of very he's like he plays like a dumb jock older brother, and he's kind of very cheesy about it, but it works, if you ask me. Like it's funny. And then the kid that plays the main kid, Oliver Bean, is played by a kid named Grant Rosenmeyer, I think. And oh man, that kid kills me. He's really funny. Some of the things he does in his acting, I think, are just golden. And the fact that I never really saw any of these actors in this show anywhere else kind of kills me. The mom, I think her name is like Wendy McKenna or something like that. She's really cute and funny, and she's a great character actress in that. The dad, Grant something else, Grant Shaud, I believe, Shaud. He's great. I love him. So if you can find it somewhere, Oliver Bean, Beene. It's just like a family sitcom on Fox back in, I don't know, like 2004, 2006, I want to say. There's an episode where they build a treehouse, or they build a treehouse, and Oliver and his 2 friends, and they go home, and then they come back the next day, and there's a hobo living in their treehouse. He's got the ladder pulled up so they can't get in. Hey, Joe, how's it going? I'm talking about this old show on Fox that I really liked called Oliver Bean. I have a bootleg copy of it that I bought like 10 years ago on some dark seedy place on the internet because I couldn't find it anywhere else to download or stream or anything. Back when I was always using Pirate Bay and stuff like that, I couldn't find anything like that. I couldn't find it anywhere. But I found some like don't put your money into it type site, and I got DVDs. So I was watching it, and yeah, so I was talking about this episode where they come back and there's a hobo living in their treehouse, and they spend the whole episode trying to get their treehouse back from this hobo and like lure him out of it and stuff with a pie. It's called Oliver Bean. Oliver Beene. And so the guys that created How I Met Your Mother, which I also really like, by the way, but I like this better in a different way. It's a different kind of show. The creators of How I Met Your Mother were like producers on this, and I think they wrote a couple episodes. And they also, even better, they also do the theme song for the show. Those guys, Carter Bays and Craig Thomas, I think their names are. They do the theme song for Oliver Bean, and it's called The Future Is Now, and the band is called The Solids. And it's really good. If you can find that, you'll probably be able to find that somewhere on YouTube or something. You might even, at this point, you might even be able to find the episodes of the show on YouTube. But the theme song is great. I love the theme song, and because there's a full version of the song. Besides just the theme song, the little bit that's in the show. Cool. Yeah. He's one of the only people I follow on what do you call it? Twitch. But I was just thinking that because I saw his name pop up when I came on today. Like I saw his name sitting there. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot he streams. Because I never watch anything on. I keep wanting to say Steam, but I mean Twitch. I never use Twitch outside of just streaming. Because I'm old and dumb. I don't know nothing. I'm afraid of what I don't know. I have watched him a couple of his streams before, but it's like I don't know what it is. Something about Twitch kind of bums me out, personally. A lot of people love it, but I'd rather watch YouTube for some reason than ever set foot on Twitch. That's not a popular thing to say, probably, and I can't even exactly explain it. But I met okay. Bye, Joe. I probably told you what I was about to say anyway before, because I was going to tell the story I've told on here before, where I met Joan Vasquez and gave him a copy of my crummy comic. That's the very first comic I made. and it's not good. But he acted like it was good. He humored me. I've met him a couple times. At I once met him at a signing at some comic book store. Got all my comics signed. And when I was when he was signing my copy of when Jonan Vasquez was signing my copy of one of the I Feel Sick comics, because I wanted to get both of those signed. There's two issues of a comic called I Feel Sick, and it was the only comic really he had done that was full color. And when he was signing them, I was like, "That's my favorite thing you've done." And he goes, "That's my favorite thing I've done too." And then he stopped signing for a second, and he goes, "No, wait, no, that's not true." Then he goes back to signing stuff. And I was like, what is your favorite thing that you've done? And he goes, "Oh, Filler Bunny." And Filler Bunny is a comic. I have a collection. Here, I'll show you real quick. You'll notice this is not signed because this was not out at the time. In fact, I think only the first two issues were out, which were in black and white. He made them both in a night. And it's all about this bunny that just gets tortured. He's like created in a lab to entertain the reader, and but it's just he just wants to die or something. So he keeps trying to like sneak off, and they keep like doing experiments on him or something and prolonging his suffering of having to entertain. But he made each issue in a night, allegedly. And then he put out this third issue, which has like 4 pages of color in the middle. Maybe it's just 2 pages. And then there's a secret 4th issue that came out. Oh yeah, there's a 4th issue that kind of came with this collection when this came out. So yeah, that's what Filler Bunny is. That's his favorite thing he's made. I'm sure it was fun to make, but I still say I Feel Sick is better. I Feel Sick is about one of the characters from Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, which I was a huge Johnny the Homicidal Maniac fan in high school. Or middle school is when I first got those. And so then he did a spin-off comic called Squee. There were 4 issues of that. And Squee was the little neighbor boy that lived next to Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. But Johnny liked him and would always like kind of confide in little Squee, who was just this wide-eyed, terrified little boy who was truly, truly afraid of Johnny. But Johnny would always be like, just telling him these horrible things. that would like keep Squee up at night. Okay, thanks. Nice talking to you. Goodbye. And then little Squee would be lying there in bed, like unable to sleep. And then he put out a second spin-off comic about his, and that was I Feel Sick. And that was about Devi, one of this girl that went out on a date with Johnny in the second issue of Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. And I Feel Sick is kind of about how like it basically revolves around all these terrible relationships that Devi has been in. And it's kind of, she's got, and both Squee and I Feel Sick are a little bit, to me, it's kind of like the same thing that happens to Johnny is kind of like coming after Squee and Devi in those comics. But they kind of handle it differently. And so it doesn't consume them and destroy them in the way that it got Johnny. Is my understanding of those comics, because it's like there are these like there's all these like not imaginary friends exactly there, but there's all these things that talk to Johnny in Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, and it's kind of implied that some of these things are like otherworldly forces that kind of got to Johnny and make him do the horrible things that he does. And there are things that kind of come after Squee and Devi in their comics, but they kind of didn't fall into it like Johnny did. And I think that's really cool. But that's kind of more the central plot of I Feel Sick, and kind of just like a smaller little hint. There's a little hint of that in Squee too. Let me see if I can put this back. There we go. Tilt the camera this way. I think my hand won't be covering up the drawing so much. In case it was, which it probably was. So right before I started streaming today, there's a cat that lives here. It's not my cat. My roommate has a cat. And I was sitting here and I was setting up the stream. And all of a sudden I hear like a was like, holy crud. Is Arya okay? Arya's the cat. And my roommate's like, yeah, because I've never heard her meow, like, never really heard her meow before, let alone like a haunted cat meow, yowl. But my roommate's like, yeah, there's just this other cat that came to the back door because he had the back door open, like just the screen door closed. Like he's like, this other cat came to the back door, and Arya didn't like that. So she's like over here hissing and meowing, and I was like, oh wait, I'll bet I know that cat. Is it gray? He's like, yeah, it is. It's like, oh yeah, that's one of my neighbor's cats. He lets his cat like wander around to catch field mice all day, and then she comes back home at the end of the day. Like, oh, okay. I look out there, and yep, it was my neighbor's cat. Just kind of funny that he lets his cat roam around like that, because the first time I met, one of the first times I met my neighbor, he was asking me if I could help him catch his cat because she had gotten out and he was afraid he was going to lose her. And so we spent like an hour trying to catch the cat and get it back in the house. And then, wouldn't you know it, now he just lets her roam around town all the time, and she comes back at the end of the day. I gotta say, I've never seen her out in the wild before when I wasn't hanging out with my neighbor. And she was just like in the vicinity. Like I never just kind of like saw her running around town or, hanging out under my patio furniture in this case. And then not my cat, our cat, the cat that lives here, I'll call her. She just kept like, so we closed the door, but then she kept going like behind the curtains to just stare at the cat and get upset. Like we would just be like minding our own business, and all of a sudden she'd start like yowling again. It's like, dude, it's gonna be okay. Just don't look. If it upsets you so much. All I want is to talk with you. All I want is to walk with you. I'm aching for your touch. And I'm breaking 'cause I miss you so much. Do you miss me too? Or something like that. I have to be careful singing on here. I'll get myself locked up. No, nah. For singing so badly. Okay. So my family's what do you call it? St. Patrick's Day party. We had that. What happened? Anything? Oh, I don't know. My nephews get really, my nieces and nephews, they get really into St. Patrick's Day. I think because my mom gets really into it. Because my mom's from Ireland. So she throws a big St. Patrick's Day party every year. And my nephews all dress up for it. They'll wear like green suspender, like my one nephew, yeah, he put on like green suspenders and a hat and glasses, and he had stickers and tattoos all over him, and like to the nines with the St. Patrick's Day. Let's see now. I just saw my roommate put on this trailer for a new Power Rangers movie, and it's got a bunch of the cast members from when I first when I was a what 6-year-old, 5-year-old. So it's got Zach and Billy from the original Power Rangers, and the original voice of Rita, and then oh, by the way, Zach looks like he's my age, and he's definitely older than me by a good at least 10 years. So he looks like he's my age. Billy looks like he's 60. Rita's got a robot face. But there's a reason she was like I think barely in the movies. That actress died a long time ago, but she was, you know, Power Rangers. They cannibalized some old Japanese show and took scenes from that, and then dubbed over it for American audiences and like repackaged it as the Power Rangers. So they filmed like new stuff for the Power Rangers, but then they all those action scenes with the Power Rangers and the monsters, like a lot of that was cannibalized from like an old Japanese show. So the actress that played Rita was just recycled material. So they just dubbed over her voice with, you know, I don't know. So you hear the voice of Rita Repulsa in this new trailer, but then she's got this metal face and she's like, I've got a new body. But it was like the first thing that happens is like you hear her voice, and I was like, oh, that was cool. That was exciting. Okay. Sure. Let's see. Do I want to add any blacks here? I don't want that to be confusing. Okay. I think I'm just going to go to, I almost said pencils, watercolors. Be careful. I don't want to smear the ink that I just put down. I'm trying to think of what would be dry and what wouldn't. I usually don't have any trouble with this ink. It's usually my certain sets of these pens will smear on me if I don't let them wait a little bit. Some of them, the Copic ones, I think don't really smear at all for me, or very little anyway. The Copic multiliners don't smear for me very much. But I've got like 10 knockoff brands as well. I'm always cycling through different ones because the ones that I use the most, because of how much I use like a certain couple, I go through them pretty fast. So I get sets as gifts all the time, and a bunch of the times I'll get just like random knockoff brands, which are fine. But some of them smear a little more than others. But the ink usually doesn't on me. Though if I don't usually use it on this paper, you never know when you change up your combination of stuff. So yeah, proceed with caution. Yeah, I think I was saying before, my roommate put on a trailer for another thing a while ago. A new Ninja Turtles movie coming out, which looks pretty cool. I guess Seth Rogen's in it. Seth Rogen wrote it or is directing it or something. It's like it's kind of into the latest Nickelodeon cartoon version of the Turtles, I think. But they don't look like that. They look more like the Turtles we know and love to an extent, but they're like more on the teen side. The one thing that kind of bugged me a little bit was we were looking at the credits, and it seems like they gender swapped some of the characters that I would have been really excited to see, but like it's like yeah, you gotta gender swap everybody now, which whatever, I don't care. It's not for me anyway. But like I was excited that like it's called like Mutant Mayhem or something like that, I think, and like it's gonna have Leatherhead in it, and it's gonna have Wingnut and Bebop and Rocksteady. Seth Rogen's gonna play Bebop. And oh, you know what I should do before I get myself into trouble here? I'm gonna pour my ink back into the bottle. Into this bottle. Before I tip it over and make a mess. All right. Now I'm kind of a clumsy oaf when it comes to watercolors. Here, I gotta figure out my desk setup here. Let's move these over. No. Let's see. So first of all, I'm gonna rinse the ink off this brush. Oh no, I put it in my tea. No, that gets dangerous though, having your water thing and your tea right next to each other in similarly colored cylindrical, etc. Well, just don't mess up. Oh, good. I drank the tea. Let's see. Oh, do I gotta? You know what? That's gonna be no good to. I'm gonna get fresh water for the watercolors. I'll be right back. And we're back. I mean, I'm just going to get this water filthy in a second anyway, so does it really matter? Okay, so I don't know what I'm doing color-wise with this. All right. Also, how long has it been? It's been almost an hour. How much time am I trying to spend on this little affair? I'm just going to use whatever's there. I'll probably add stuff to it before long. There's my little trying to do make it more dry than wet. But like I say, I'm a clumsy oaf when it comes to watercolors. I'll probably use this for skin color. Oh man. I got blue in it. But let's see. Let's make a skin color. Skin tone. Some kind of skin tone. That like mustard yellow ochre. And then I'm gonna put like a little bit of the white stuff. Oh, you know what? I was about to pull out a push pin to do it, but look, these caps have little stabs. So that might... It's going to get me trouble anyway in it. I'll get a push pin. Push pins come in handy for me all the time. So I'm glad I went ahead and bought those like a million years ago. I've probably reused a bunch of them and then thrown them back in to the box a dozen times. This is being a butt munch. There we go. And then maybe I'll put a dash of brilliant red. Let's see what this yields. Hey? Come on, hey. Little orange pinky, kind of salmony. I think I'm going to try and wish me luck. I'm going to try and get a little bit more white in there. There we go. Come on, you lousy no good, Nick. I'm taking my time, I guess, even though I want to color a page after this. See? He's a little boy. He's a little white boy like me. I've heard of those. That's a lot. That is a lot of water. Oh, cripes. You'd think I'd learn. But I didn't promise to be a good watercolorist. I promised I'd be a, what'd I say? Clumsy oaf. This is a little rag that came with the set, and it's like, it's in tatters. I should have like a set of paper towels with me or something. But I don't, because clumsy oaf. I'm in tatters. Should be. Okay. So there's our kid. Flirty Mango. Hi. Have we met? Your name sounds a little familiar. Was it something else Mango before? Let's see. For his shirt. Said, nope. Maybe we have, I'm not sure. Okay. Well, I'm just doing this sketchbook drawing of, I was calling it a double Velma earlier, where this body is stumbling around looking for its head, which in turn is looking for its glasses, I guess. Double Velma. Ooh. Messer. Let's see. I'm giving myself permission to be terrible. So if this goes horribly awry, it's part of the plan. I try to go into pretty much all my art. I try to go into it as earnestly as possible, like with the best of intentions, but where I need to, I just kind of barrel through, and it'll get sloppy if. And so, like, I was looking at my comic when I was inking it today, or I mean, not inking, coloring it today, and it was like, I don't know. It's a lot smoother with my comic so far. Like, my comic. It's about. It's called Bonehead. Here, let me go on page here. So I inked my first graphic novel. I just finished inking it maybe at the beginning of the year. It's a 250-page graphic novel, and I'm coloring it in Photoshop right now. I'm not to these pages yet, but this is the first page with our main character, Bonehead. And it's about this little guy, Bonehead, who works at a poison factory. And he, let me think, how do I go? I got to remember my little story synopsis. So Bonehead works at this poison factory, and he's kind of a goof off, and he decides he's going to get his life together. So he's going to ask his girlfriend to marry him. He's going to go for a promotion at work. And then his bosses decide to close the poison factory. And that's going to mess up all his plans, his future plans. And so what he does is he finds out that they're closing it because of this top secret project that they finished. And so he steals the top secret project, and so he won't lose his job. But then it kind of launches him into this big sci-fi fiasco. So there's aliens, there's monsters. It's a cool little story. It's like I said, it's 250 pages. The stack of pages is like that thick. Now I got to color them all. Oh, and his girlfriend is this little ghost girl. Let's see if I can find a picture of her. Maybe not. Okay. I'll show a couple more pages. So, I'm looking for, okay. I was going to say, I just had it. So, here's a page I inked that I colored not that long ago. And this isn't posted anywhere. I'm coloring it all. I inked it all on stream, so it's still all like in like on my YouTube channel, which I think is just Wrangleshank. But I usually put the links to all my stuff in the description at the end of the stream. And so you can see me ink it all on my YouTube channel. But this is a page I colored recently. So the book starts off with this backstory. And the beginning of the book is about this guy, Denton Crux, who started the poison factory. And it's about him and his assistant going to this other planet and speaking with this alien king. And here's the front cover with Bonehead and the bad guys. I don't know where my back cover is right now. It's somewhere buried in that pile. But and here's Bonehead going to see his. Thank you. There's Bonehead going to see his waitress girlfriend, his ghost waitress girlfriend, at the diner she works at called the Rusty Skillet. And he's like, "Oh no, I shouldn't have shown up empty-handed." And so he like plucks a flower out of the vase at the table. Pink. And he skates over to her. And he hands her the flower. And she's like, "What are you doing here?" So that's a little bit about Bonehead. I had a brush. Oh, brother. What, pray tell? See, I'm the worst. Okay, here I am. But yeah, I guess I was saying I go into my art trying to stand on my tiptoes, like when I drew this. But, sometimes, like, either I don't know what I'm doing, or I got a rush, or it might be makes me have to do part of it kind of sloppy. And, I do my best, even when I got to be sloppy, I guess. But I don't let being sloppy stop me anymore. Like I did when I was in middle school and high school, everything had to be perfect or I wouldn't do it. And I didn't do a lot of art because it wasn't going to be perfect. And that is I feel like that's a bad impulse. Because it's better to make than to not make, in my opinion. And one of the reasons I'm using watercolors anyway. Oh, you write comics too? Cool. Yeah. One of the reasons I'm using watercolors is because like half my Prismacolor markers that I usually use are dead over here. So I was like, maybe I'll just start doing stuff with watercolors more often. Because I don't. Well, also, I'm Catholic, so I'm doing Lent, and the crazy thing I'm doing for Lent is I'm not using the internet except to post my art. So streaming and posting stuff on Twitter and what's the other guy? Instagram. But then I'm leaving the internet alone. I've been doing that for I don't know how many days already, but I've got till Easter. And I figured I would still stream music on like Spotify or something off my phone and podcasts and stuff. But then I was like, no, that feels cheap. Because that's about half I do on the internet anyway. So I was like, nope, streaming's out too. And yeah, I'm just kind of alone with my thoughts a lot these days. But it's kind of nice. I have a lot more free time, it seems like. Well, actually, some days it doesn't even seem like I have more free time. Strangely. But but it's pretty cool to see how much screen time has gone down. I was doing like 4 hours a day at least on my phone, and now it's like less than an hour some days. And most of that is just like texting my friends and family and checking the time and weather. I hid all my social media so I can't like just go right into it, and the internet too. So I don't go into it out of habit, like muscle memory. And so I have been like instinctively pulling out my phone a lot, and then when I see that all the stuff is hidden, I just check the weather, which I'm giving myself permission to check the weather at least. But the thing that kind of inspired it was I was on Facebook right before Lent started, and I read some article on Facebook about how Michael Cera doesn't use a smartphone, and I was like, that's pretty cool. It's like, imagine like not having a smartphone in this day and age. It'd be so freeing, and it'd be good for you, I'll bet. And I was like, that's it. That's what I'm doing for Lent. I'm getting rid of. I'm not using the internet. But then I had to like make up rules about it because it's kind of hard to exist that way. But because I wanted to keep streaming and stuff, but I didn't want to like be on there doing all the extraneous, useless stuff. So if I have to look something up for someone at work, like I'll allow that. Like if it's like kind of on a need to basis, I'll use the internet. Let me see. I'm gonna give myself a little bit of. How do I do this? How do I do it? Come on, sucker. I might go over some of the ink afterwards. Oh, me and my roommate, we watch the new episodes of South Park every Wednesday. And I know we watched a new one last night. I don't remember what it was off the top of my head. Oh, Cartman goes to work at an ice cream shop, and then he's such a terrible worker, but then he decides he wants to like open up his own restaurant, and he opens up a hot dog place. since he lives in a hot dog place right now. It was a good episode. Okay. What else? What else? What else? I think I'll use whatever this is, or maybe I'll add something else to this. Let me think. That, I'll add a little blue. I think that's what this originally was. I'm probably using way too much. Because clumsy oaf. That is a lot of paint. Oh man, because we've been watching South Park every Wednesday, we've also been watching, after it ends, we've been watching Beavis and Butthead, the new episodes of Beavis and Butthead that play after it. And this week they didn't have Beavis and Butthead after South Park. They had like this new Andy Samberg cartoon called Demon. And we both were like talking about how it looked tragically bad to us. But we stuck around and watched it, and just it didn't get a laugh out of either of us the entire time. And like I was saying, I feel like it would be better if, like, it seems more suited to be like a Disney XD show if they just took out all the adult thing. Like, that's what it looks like and kind of feels like. It feels like a Disney XD kind of. Is Disney XD even a thing anymore? But that's kind of what it feels like Kick Buttowski, or Dave the Barbarian, that kind of thing. It feels like it's supposed to be with that kind of stuff. That's what it looks like. That's what it feels like. But then they start making drug references and swearing a lot. And that thing comes at least that first episode, it comes at you like a mile a minute. It's like, it's got a ton of dialogue any given moment of that show. And all of it not very funny. that was our agreement on it. It wasn't funny. But we went into it not wanting or expecting to be impressed. So Going for paler yellow than the brown floor that I used this same color for. Burnt umber. Gonna add a little burnt umber. If it'll let me. There we go. I'm gonna fight with the white again. Come on, something. It came out, but it wasn't coming off the tube. Okay, that's the color I need for this very small thing. Jeepers. La-dee-dee. It's very similar to the color I had on the floor already, but I thought it was different. Maybe it is. I'll let that soak in a bit. And then what about his undershirt? I'm gonna wreck this, ain't I? That is just barely an article of anything anymore. Let's see. There's a smiley face on him. What color do I want that shirt? I'm just gonna get. I think I'm gonna go pink. Oh, and I can just use like. Well, I could use just that red. I'm gonna put a little white in there, just so it doesn't look identical to the other instances. Actually, I'm gonna beef up those reds or the red shoes real quick before I mix that white in. Woof. Oh, I almost stuck the brush into the T. Oh, look at this. What a pathetic slob I am. Okay, mix that white in. For more of an earnest pink. A sincere pink. I've got this little tiny bit of untouched burnt umber on the edge of my tray. I'm trying to work with that. Now I think I'm going to put some of this blue into some of this pink. For his uvula. All I want is to talk with you. Yeah, I haven't been listening to much music at all lately because I'm not streaming anything. And I've had the dear old Violent Femmes stuck in my head all day. Okay. I haven't colored this smiley face yet. Okay. Add a teensy smidge of yellow to this brown concoction I have. Ooh, I said smidge and then I put a huge stinking blob. I always put more color than I mean to with watercolors. Then most of the stuff that I have in the thing dries up, and I just reactivate it the next time I do watercolors and try to make use of whatever's there already. That's probably how everyone uses watercolors, right? Right? Almost looks like a tie-dye shirt now. Okay. One more smidge of this blue. And then what am I doing? I think I'm going to go over some of the ink. I'm going to add some white. What was I doing? Oh, I know. Nah, crumbs. Crumbs. Sure, I'm just going to leave that. Okay. Now, wash all that out. See, I shouldn't. I ought not to have poured all the ink back, but I never. See, I don't do enough watercolors, so I don't think of everything that I'm gonna want to do ahead of time. I'm gonna pour some of that ink. Ooh, oh, that's a bad move. I'll leave that for now. And pour a little teensy tiny bit of ink back into this little bottle cap here. Just a teeny tiniest bit I can muster. Okay. Ink. Unbottling and bottling. I don't know. When I first started using ink like this, it was dangerous work just because I'd always be pouring it and like trying to like pour it back into the bottle and stuff. And then one time, I don't even think I was doing that stuff because that can be like a juggling act sometimes. But I think one time I was just doing a picture on my basement table, and I knocked the bottle over and spilled it all over the table. Luckily, it cleaned up pretty well. And I don't think I've had any big fiascos other than that, but it can be a ruinous mess. And I haven't had any issues in a long time. I hope it stays that way. I'm not going to go over everything, just where it seems like the watercolor kind of made some detail particularly unclear. Japers. Okay, tighten this up. Okay. So that's about that. Yeah, the double Velma. Now I'm just gonna get a white thingy, jelly roll pen, fill in some sauce here. Thinking what was it? Oh, I know. And then maybe okay. And I think I'm gonna leave it at that. How do you like that? We're calling it a double Velma. All right. Well, this has been another edition. Oh, hold on. This camera's gonna tip on me. Oh, now it's way too tight. What do I do? Oh, here we go. There it goes. Another edition of Ink the Book Show, where we did some watercoloring in my sketchbook. It's still tea, right? No ink in there. I made it. Okay. Well, I'll maybe be back tomorrow with another stream if I can pull it off. We'll see. But otherwise, I'm going to try and finish ink. I'm so used to inking the book. I'm going to try and finish coloring another page tonight. And yeah. Anyway, I'll be back before you know it. Goodbye, everybody. Be sure to click the links in the description for where you can find my social media, my YouTube, my Twitch, if you're watching on the other and would like to check out the other, and a bunch of other stuff. There's a TeePublic shop. There's I don't know, a link to all the animations I have on my YouTube, separate from the rest of my YouTube as well. And that's what I got. Goodbye, everybody. I love you.